Shalom and welcome back to Genesis of Relationships, where we bring peace and passion into your relationship. If you're not getting it, rewind and watch the videos again. Take notes, make it a part of your life. Don't just leave it in here. If you are gaining anything from these videos, please send people to ravnathanalexander.com so that they can gain too. We're not meant to keep things for ourselves if they're good. We're meant to spread the word. We're meant to give it out to people. There are so many people in a lot of pain out there that could really benefit from these amazing lessons from the Bible. Give it to them, send them to the website, and we'll help you help them. That was quite an advert over there. All right, we are jumping forward. We are going to chapter 11 of Genesis. Yes, we've left a lot behind, but we really can't cover everything. We'll do that in another course. Okay, chapter 11, verse number 1. And the world, or the land, was one safa, one language. The Tower of Babel, Babel, exactly, that's what it sounded like. In the beginning, after Noah, there was one language. People understood each other. They knew how to communicate with each other. They were humble enough to hear each other. And then what happened? They decided to build a tower to reach God. They were not trying to reach God out of a yearning to be close to Him. They were not building a tower to connect, to communicate with God. They were building a tower to overcome God, to become their own God, to say, look what we can build. Look how great we are. We are not limited by some God. And then what happens? God curses them, that they now don't understand each other. It's no longer, the world is no longer safa achat, one language. People are talking a language to each other they don't understand. They are not patient to understand. They cannot learn from each other. They cannot guide each other. They cannot build with each other. And where was the basis? Where was the key to that disaster? It's when they believed that their greatness was all about them. It's when they were not humble enough to know that the gifts that they have been given, the success that they have been given, comes from God. They turned their success into a tool to make themselves God. Now, how does this relate to our home? Success is one thing. Success is a great thing. Success is something that we must strive for. But when we believe that it's all about us, when we believe that we are the only thing that is able to do that, when we believe that it was not the buy-in from our spouse, it was not the support from our children, it was not the advice from my grandfather, it was not the blessings from my God, but it was me, well then everything falls apart. All the communication falls apart. All the success is destroyed. But if I am able to be humble enough, if you are able to be humble enough to thank, praise, and honor those around you that invest in your success, then you're speaking the same language. You're speaking the same language. You can build together. When you see your wife or your husband as part of your success, then you are building a building that is blessed in His eyes. Don't think it's all about you. You know, we discuss this all the time in the Jewish community. I live in the land of Israel, in the promised land, right here. In fact, about 50 meters that way is the path that Abraham and Isaac walked on the way to Jerusalem to do the sacrifice on Mount Moriah. Do you know how many wars we've had in the short time of the modern state of Israel? So many wars. And every single one of them, we come out on top. We lose soldiers. It's awful. My son is named after one of the soldiers that we lost, Yochai. We do lose soldiers, but we come out on top. We're still here. You know why? Because it's a godly promise that the Jewish people would return to their land. And so we're always going to be here. If we come to the mistake of thinking that it's because of the power of our guns, it's the intellect of our our sergeants, it's the muscle of our soldiers, well then that blessing, God forbid, disappears. But if we are able to understand that the reason that we are here, the reason you have success in your life, the reason that you're making money, the reason that whatever it is you're successful in is because, not despite, your family, well then the blessing just keeps flowing.